It's time for the premiere episode of the most delicious segment in all of sports, where we look at a menu of teams and decide who has a recipe for success, who's just cooking, and who's totally cooked. We also use this segment
Who wrote this?
as an excuse to expense a pie! Because this is Title Pie. Now, what do we do with the pie? What am I doing? Do I have a fork? We don't know. We just have the pie. And before we move on,
I told you guys, man.
the whole segment could be here, but it's here because, and I'm just being honest, I owe you honesty. Brew and I are 20% thinking about the pie. True or false?
You're right. You are absolutely.
We're just always.
Especially the way that pie looks delicious.
Now you're doing this segment. What? If we had a brew
He
camp,
can do this segment. What's it going to be, about 8 minutes? And we can just go get our plates and some forks.
It's a 20-minute segment.
But his part.
I told you.
Okay.
He can do his thing. And then
Put it
we
away.
eat.
Just put it away so you guys can. Brew is a famous sweet tooth. You are always wacky this time of the week. All right.
Excited.
If people are new to Title Pie, obviously every team doesn't have a slice.
No.
That would be ridiculous. And I also made an adjustment this year.
Okay.
If you are either below 500 or not in the top 8 of your conference, you're not even going to be represented in the 0%ers, right? So those teams are just out. Pretend they don't exist.
Okay.
So the teams that are above 500 and currently in the playoffs that are not represented on the pie are these 5 teams. Sorry. Wild's Frisky.
What?
Less than 1%. Sorry. The Rockets. The Timberwolves, it's devastating. The Clippers, I think they're actually probably fine with this season. The Pacers, and shout out to the Pistons for making the graphic. Those are the teams, they don't even have a 1% chance. You disagree, Brew?
I'm surprised at a team that is not listed.
Oh,
You know what I'm
1% to the pie, the New York Knicks. I'm being generous here.
That wasn't the team.
Oh,
but yeah, you
wow. Okay.
It's a
we'll
team
see.
in the West. We'll see.
Yeah, well,
All right.
1%.
Okay.
The New York Knicks, and the reason they
are
have
generous.
the 1% is because they do have what should be their version of the Celtics from last year. 5 excellent starters, a legitimate bench, a coach we trust, like all of it, but they're not. They don't appear to be that team, but maybe they somehow can be. 2%, the Grizzlies.
Wow, that was the team.
That's the team?
You give them 2%?
If they get healthy.
Not that that's a lot.
I feel like
Could win it all. Think about what you're saying.
I know what I'm saying, but also what I'm saying is they're guys who have missed time or not done for the year. Triple J is coming back. Can he pull back what we saw from Ja a couple playoffs ago? For a full run, probably not, but I'm giving him 2%.
Defense wins championships, too. Just give it
Well, yeah, sure. 3%. The Warriors. I don't see the path everyone else does. And we'll talk more about them in a bit. For as impressive as they've been the last 10 games, they are still fighting for their life to stay out of the play-in. And as great as Steph has been, I'm not sure we are going to get vintage playoff Jimmy at this point of his career, but 3%. That's a 1 in 33 chance. Now, to the teams with a sizable piece. 7%, the Milwaukee Bucks. What an odd last 5 seasons. They win the title. They are then the huge favorite to win the title. Giannis is playing as well as ever. Middleton gets hurt, and they get clipped by Boston in Game 7. With respect to the Warriors, I think that Bucks team would have smashed the 22 Warriors. I didn't think they had any answer for Giannis on that team. And then in 23 and 24, Giannis is hurt in the playoffs. Giannis is healthy, playing great. Give him 7% chance. And Dame playing really well also. All right, this next one's going to feel disrespectful. I'm just telling you right now, Wild's going to get mad. 10%, the Cavs. Yeah. I have a hard time getting last postseason out of my head. When it was a war to get past Franz Wagner and the Orlando Magic in round 1, And then they just got worked in round 2, and it didn't really seem like they had much for anyone.
Right.
And they are having legitimately an all-time regular season. Very, very difficult to go from a group that has won a total of 1 playoff series together to winning 4 in 1 year. But I know how great they've been this year. I give them 10%. 12%. The Nuggets. Jokic. So here's the thing. Jokic, obviously unreal. Playoff Jamal Murray, historically pretty good, and he's playing really well right now. And then the question of, was last year's fourth quarter of Game 7 just a fluke? Should they have been, at the very least, in the finals? I know they then would have had to beat Luka. I don't know. But a healthy Nuggets team, now it's not as... They don't have all the pieces they had last year, but it still feels like when you have the best player in the league, you got to have at least a 1 in 8 chance of winning the title. Now to the 3 big slices. 20%. The Oklahoma City Thunder. They're a juggernaut. They're just a juggernaut that has not been past round 2. And the youth, I am less concerned about the youth than probably Brew is. What I am concerned about is Shea going to get the whistle he's gotten in the regular season and the postseason? And are the bright playoff lights going to be a little too bright for the others? Not for Shea, but for the others. Yeah. I like their coach. I like their depth. I love their defense. I give them a 20% chance. 2 slices left. 22%.
This better not be
the
green.
Boston Celtics. They're the defending champs with no holes, which is why they have almost the biggest slice of pie. Now, they have not had an overwhelming regular season. Is that post-championship malaise, regular season malaise, or is it? It's really hard to repeat in this league. And now, flip side to that is, last year, Wilds, to his credit, while also picking Denver to win the whole thing, was talking about, are the Celtics, an all-time team potentially? And Brew and I were saying, not unless they repeat. Well, maybe they will. 22%, just behind team with a 23% chance. 23%? 23 plus 77, that's 100. Los Angeles Lakers. All-time duo. And here's the thing. So, Lakers have a few... Once upon a time, they got an all-time duo put together in 1980 and won a championship the first year. Another time, they got an all-time duo together in 2020, won a championship the first year. Another time, they hired a young, unproven coach. First year, won a championship, 1982. His name was Pat Riley. You know who was called potentially the next Pat Riley, and we all laughed about it? Oh, J.J. Redick. Lakers, 23% chance to win the title. Also my pick, first one to market with it to win the title. There is title pie, Kevin Wilds. What are you mad about?
I just can't believe it. I'm not super upset about the Lakers slice. I just can't believe we're here.
I know how great it's been.
I know it's
this is going to become a Mavericks topic.
I know we've been. I just still can't believe. It's almost like if I was walking on the moon and I turn the other. Can you believe that we're up here? I'm just still shocked that all of a sudden, and I'm not going to raise heck about it. Watching them play, they look amazing, and they have 2 superstars. It's just
and again, Luka still isn't like 100%.
Goodness. All right, so let's go from smallest to largest.
Okay.
First, we're going to talk about Ramsey's Knicks.
Jeez.
0-9. They're losing games against good teams by about 18, but they did take the Lakers to overtime. Looks like they now have a hard ceiling with this squad, bro. Did they make a mistake going all in on this year's roster?
No. They went for it. And I like that they went for it. All right, it's not. There's going to be one team that wins it. I know it's cliche, but one team that wins it every year. I like that they went for it. I do think they got more talented. I do think they got more balanced. Now you got a great big in Towns. You got a great point guard in Brunson versus Julius Randle, who wants to handle the ball himself. And here's what I'll say. And I brought it up, and I think Tibbs is a very good coach. And you said it. He's a coach we trust. But if they go out like we expect them to go out, unceremoniously in the second round at best, then I think a coaching change might be in order. And not because Tibbs isn't a great coach. I would equate it to Cleveland. I think they're a lot like Cleveland last year. Cleveland was a very good team.
That's interesting.
Right? Very good team. You got a Donovan Mitchell. You got an emerging big man in Evan Mobley. He's not quite Cat yet, but he's better defensively, obviously. But you had talent, and you looked at that team, you're like, man, they got a nice squad, and then they can't get it done in the playoffs. And J.B. Bickerstaff is a good coach. You see what he's doing in Detroit.
Yeah.
So it's not like J.B.'s not a good coach. They just needed a change of voice. And now you see Kenny Atkinson, who obviously was fired in Brooklyn unceremoniously, going in there and about to be the coach of the year. So I think that would be in order because they got 2 stars. You said it. Very good role players. And some
really
depth.
well put together roster.
Yes. So I just think it might be time for a new voice if they go out early.
Can I ask you a follow-up? It feels like the Knicks organization is all intertwined with each other, with Leon and Rick Brunson, who was great in Summer League. That they feel like they're all just kind of locked in together. Remember, like, Tibbs was appearing on that podcast.
Yeah,
with
the room.
No, they're all.
It feels like for whatever it is, it doesn't feel like it is a team with an identity. And the identity is Tibbs.
Right.
But if you fracture that, are you sure you're able to get something better?
I mean, we want to go out in the second round every year. Now, they also maybe could use some of these pieces to make a trade and get a big-time star. So that's on the table, too. But they got to do something.
So I said this before the show, that did they make a mistake this summer? And I never believed in Julius Randle. And now Karl-Anthony Towns playing really well, and Randle is not. And so it's not that I think that trade was a mistake. It's that the sequence of events was they traded for Bridges, then they did the Karl-Anthony Towns trade. The Bridges trade in the moment was an absurdity when you look at, they traded their own first-round pick unprotected in 25, 27, 29, and 31.
Yeah, I don't understand.
4 first and Milwaukee's first-round pick this year. They traded 5 first-round picks for Bridges. When it happened, it was like, okay, well, that's an absurd amount to pay, but they're doing the Villanova thing. That's what everybody said.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, this is a piece. It's a way to get it. They're getting off, was it Fournier or Bogdanovich? I forget the player they included. But regardless, they're not giving up any player they care about, and they're getting this guy in. And then a couple months later, they traded away one of the Villanova guys to get Towns. So the point I'm making is, knowing you were going to do, if you knew you were going to do the Towns trade, I think I would have kept all that ammo that I used on the Bridges trade, because we're breaking the Villanova thing up anyway. And then would we have been saying at the deadline, are they going to get Kevin Durant? Would we be saying this summer that? That's the point because they had all these picks and they used them all, not on Towns. On Towns, they used 1 first-round pick and Randall and Dante. On Bridges, they used 5. And so that's my question, is they put a hard ceiling on their team because you're right, they can trade players, but they have no picks to trade, which is usually how you kind of lubricate these trades.
All right, meanwhile, we'll head out to the West. The Warriors continue to roll, beat the Nets yesterday, currently in 6th place, 8-2 in their last 10, Brew. Do the former champs deserve a larger slice of the pie?
I say slightly, a little bit more. I get it. I said I think they're the 4th best team in the West, but they're going to be dangerous. Like, defensively, everybody's talking about, Steph's picked up the scoring. I think he's averaging about 10 more points a game since Butler's been there. Butler's been deadly in the mid-range, getting to the free throw line. But defensively, they've been very good, too. Like, they're playing at a high level, elite level on both ends of the ball. They are small. The Lakers are at least small without, a big man. They're bigger on the perimeter than the Warriors are. And, of course, they've got the experience. And like I said, they remind me of the Warriors from a few years ago. And I get it. The West wasn't as tough when they won their last championship. But if Butler's there, if you get playoff Jimmy, then you are in business. He'll be better than Wiggins was, even though Wiggins was really good that year. They don't have that second score, but you'll have to have Kuminga and some of these other guys contribute that scoring to fill up what Clay did. But, I think they deserve maybe a slightly bigger piece.
Can we just show the Western Conference standings real quick? Because this is why so look at where they are and what they're going to. So they are, for as hot as they've been, they're a half game out of the play-in. They're 3 full games back of the 5.
But it was 5. It was.
No, they're
from the 4.
I don't think they're in.
No. I'm not. That's not what I'm
from
talking
the 5.
about. From the 5, I'm saying.
Yeah.
The
Because that's where you want to get.
The point I'm making is this. If they don't move up, they are playing the Nuggets or the Lakers in round 1.
Yeah, they're done.
And I just don't think they can. I don't think they can beat either of those teams. And so I think in order for them to have a shot at, getting playoff Jimmy and getting on a roll and getting scary, they've got to kind of get on that roll. They're on it now to a degree, but stay on it. They have to catch Houston. They've got to get to that 4-5 line, avoid the Lakers and the Nuggets in round 1, and then see, the veteran champs against the young Thunder in round 2, what it is. But,
I think Denver's better, but I give them a shot against Denver. Look, playoff Jimmy, and look, Steph's their best player, but playoff Jimmy has beaten Giannis in the playoff. Playoff Jimmy has beaten Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Boston was better than Miami. That Miami team was not great. Those 2 teams he took to the finals were not great, and they beat teams we thought were better.
Whacked playoff Jimmy were the Nuggets.
Yeah, but he obviously, didn't have this.
He didn't have Steph. No, I just think that I think people in their mind's eye don't. It is far more likely the Warriors are in the play-in and fine, you're going to make the playoffs than they are that they move up to the 5 line. That's the point I'm making, which is what makes it hard.
All right, finally talking about Bruce Lakers. May have become
Are they still
Knicks Lakers. They're not 100% sure, but Brew, you have them in the finals. I don't know if you did a title pie, you would have them with the largest slice. Certainly you have them with the largest slice of Western Conference pie. Is this slice too large?
A few days when I said they're going to win the West, I said they're going to win the West for a reason. Because at that point, I definitely felt like I think Boston would get them, though. Now, I'm going to be honest, and I'm obviously been covering the league long enough not to put everything in one game, but I am really looking at this game tomorrow night.
I agree.
And I want to, if the Lakers go out there and really put it on this, they're not going to just play really well against them. Then I think, and beat them, then I think what's Knicks doing is fair. I think, honestly, if I was making this pie, I might have them equal right now. And I want to see tomorrow night and probably the rest of the season. I do think we're headed to a Lakers-Celtics final, which is amazing that LeBron James, if this happens, will be a part of the Lakers-Celtics rivalry. That is crazy.
Right, and so it's very interesting because was it Tatum said he doesn't look at the Lakers as rivals?
In a nice way, just
no.
He's like, we don't play them enough.
Right, which I totally understood.
And they haven't had a big match.
But Tatum's super tied to the 2 Lakers superstars. He won his first title against Luka. His welcome to the playoffs moment was the dunk on LeBron. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When he was, and so there is 18.
18.
It was LeBron's last year in Cleveland. And so it is, while there isn't for this version of the Celtics a rivalry with the Lakers, there is to a degree with LeBron and with Luka.
Definitely.
And so if we were to
also
that,
to the point you made, if this Celtics team really wants to be viewed as like an all-time great team, and even Tatum, assuming he would play well and be the MVP, this is what he needs. If they played the Lakers in the finals and Tatum was the finals MVP and led them to the championship, that would be what he needs to become the face of the league, or at least get the respect that he feels he doesn't get.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's pie time.
Oh.
Go on a break.
What?
All right.
Do you have forks, or are you guys going to use your hands?
No, I've been sitting here. You think I ducked out and got forks?
Oh, I didn't know.
I'm down with using the hands.
No. You can't use our hands on a key lime pie.
Why not?
Because it's just messy. Wow, I look like a pie ad.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.